Recently, a friend of mine asked me a question on what the most important skill was, which allowed me to scale my business to the level it's at. And it's like around 400K profit a month. He's also doing great, but he's only doing around 50K. I thought about it a lot. And honestly, I think I have this little superpower, which is not caring about problems. Whenever a problem is thrown my way, the very first question I ask myself is this actually a real problem? Does it really matter? Or can we just ignore it away? And most of the time, I literally ignore issues which I think are not big. The same thing goes for details which I just don't care about. For example, I started running email marketing for my coaching business at 300K cash collected a month. That's way too late to start email marketing. And I understood it's gonna add like 10-20% or so of the revenue, but do I care about that? No. What I want is to hit big. And the only things I was focusing on were not details at all. And recently I had this moment where everything just clicked and it made sense on why I am like that, why I truly do not care about problems. I remember how back in the day when I didn't have crazy amounts of money, I got letters from like the tax guys from Germany and they're like, you owe us like 10K. And I didn't even have 10K, but I did not panic. I basically thought, all right, let's just not pay that for a while. Nobody's gonna arrest me. Let me make 10K and then I'm gonna be able to pay that off. I'm just gonna ignore it away for now. And later on, I'm gonna pay. If they freeze my bank account, sure, I have to pay because now I cannot collect payments, etc. But until they freeze my bank account or I get a letter that I have to go to jail, it's not a burning fire. It's like, it's whatever. It's a small minor issue which I'm going to handle later. The future Michael is going to handle that issue, not me. And I just have this attitude about everything that I'm more chill about all the issues which are happening. And I recently heard this story about my grandfather from my uncle. And everything just clicked after I heard that story. Like a couple of months ago, my grandfather passed away and my uncle flew to Russia back to his old house where he also was living to prepare the funeral and all those things. So he goes back to the apartment where he was living 30 years ago. He goes back in there and then calls my dad. And he asks my dad, hey, do you remember 30 years ago when there was a broken tile on the bathroom floor? And my dad says, yeah. And my uncle says, do you remember how I bought this bag of cement to actually fix that bathroom tile? It's still there. There's a bag of cement and a broken tile next to it. 30 years passed and he didn't care about this thing. He just ignored something which he thought is irrelevant. The way he thought was literally this: there's a broken tile, I don't care. There's also a bag of cement next to it, I also don't care. Let's just not do anything for 30 years. And I just realized where this is coming from, because for me personally, that's very relatable. For most people, I'm sure ADHD is gonna hit and they're gonna have to do something about it. And I think this is something which hinders most people in succeeding in business, because you basically start out focusing on minor details. Like you start split testing the website, you change your name or logo, you start posting your little stories, you start doing things which are gonna get you these like little 10% extra boosts in some cases if you're lucky. But most of the times, that's not gonna be the game changer. If you're not making a lot of money, you need to do something different. Let's say you make 20K a month. Your goal is 100K a month. So even though it might sound like you're getting closer to 100K a month by changing the website and now not making 20K but 24K, you didn't really get closer to the 100K. Because that jump is not going to really compound, and it's just one jump which is there once, and you're not going to be able to change it again and get another 10% increase usually. So I think what's really important is just telling yourself, all right, which one thing, if I do that for the next year, is actually going to change my business and at least 5 or 10x it? And the answer most likely is you need more leads. And from my experience, the best way to do that is with a personal brand, a YouTube channel, etc. So for example, if on my main channel we're not posting for a week, I will be stressed. That I see as a real issue. I'm still not gonna die, nothing is gonna really happen, but I understand that's a problem, because that's the main thing. For me right now, to generate the most amount of leads is posting 3 YouTube videos every single week on my Ecom channel. So that is what's getting me the most amount of leads. But the other thing I also understand is that my YouTube channel is getting fueled by all the case studies I'm posting. So what I'm currently doing, I'm posting either 1 or 2 case studies per week. These are basically videos where I interview my current students for like 30 minutes straight, and they explain how good their experience was with me, how much money they made, etc. These are obviously not really fakeable because it's long form interviews, and I obviously have to have real results. So I also understand to fuel the YouTube channel properly, I do need to have really good customer support and things like that. That's something I also understand. I focus a lot of my budget and time into having good client delivery, hiring a bunch of really good employees, etc. Because how YouTube works in reality is your YouTube videos generate a lot of views, and those views are not converting yet. What actually gets you to convert is sharing your screen and showing the numbers, or sharing your screen from the client's numbers and things like that, where you have undeniable proof that your stuff works. Instead of saying how good you are, you just show how good video. That's what makes the decision really simple for people who watch the channel. They understand, all right, I like the videos on YouTube, but that's not enough. I like him, and also he has undeniable proof that his strategy actually does work. That's just something which is so key. And I see so many people focusing on things which are very short term. If you're doing cold DMs, for example, you're gonna make money from the cold DMs, but you don't have a proper setup. If you don't have a really good YouTube channel, if you don't have a really good personal brand, these cold DMs are converting at 10 times less the rate than if you would actually have a really good personal brand. Because if you cold DM somebody, and instead of you pitching on the call or on a sales call, the first thing you do is you send them the YouTube channel, or you phrase your conversation that way so they ask a question and your answer is a YouTube link which answers their question. And they basically get onto the YouTube channel, then start binge watching you, and then they just sign up by themselves. You don't have to convince anybody. So this is something which compounds. And I think all the things you actually should be doing at a little bit of a higher level. So to get to your first like 30 to 50K a month, fine, you can do all these like small one-time tasks like cold DMs. But later on, to actually scale to high numbers, you need to have tasks which compound. And things which compound are not that easy to find. So from my experience, personal brand is by far the most important one. And that's also why I have this second channel here, which you're watching currently, which is basically showing all the behind the scenes of how I built my e-commerce coaching business. So if you want to learn the actual details and the step-by-step system on how I was able to, number one, talk really well in front of the camera, number two, have like a really good ad setup, which allowed me to go viral organically, and also have paid ads fuel my YouTube channel, you can actually click the link below, because I linked a full case study where I share my screen, show you all the numbers, show you everything you need to know, and guide you through the entire process of building a highly profitable personal brand on YouTube. And this is something which is really relevant for agencies, coaching businesses, and any service-based business overall. So definitely click the link below, and I will see you soon.